I think what this movie really gets right is the fun of the idea of a superhero. So we get, like you said, we get a very relatable main character who kind of gets these powers by accident and then at first uses them for personal gain and then kind of realizes that that is not the way to go and that he should use them to help other people. The hero learns how to use the powers and it eventually overcomes the villain, and then by the end is a fully realized version of himself. The movie also really just fulfills the superhero fantasy and the Spider-Man fantasy. So basically, if you made like a list of things you would want, like if nobody had ever made a superhero movie and you had to come up with one from scratch, and you would make a list of everything that that movie should have in it, this movie pretty much has almost all of them, I would say. And I think that makes this movie, even like 20 years later, really enjoyable, even though we've had 20 years of much more complex or sophisticated or polished superhero movies. But this has like a simplicity and a pure application of these tropes that I think a lot of movies today avoid, because they think they are too corny or too basic or something like that. But then you go back to this movie and it actually does hold up. Like there are things here that look a little bit hokey, like the goblin suit. It does not look all that great. It clearly looks like a plastic suit.
You didn't like it?
I think like if you just take it by itself and just look at it and say, okay, does this look good? Then it looks really plastic and really exaggerated and stuff like that. But then you put like Willem Dafoe in it, and he just acts like this is Shakespeare and like just gives it 120%, and he just makes it like he just pulls it off. Beyond anything else, he's fun. He's larger than life. He's got a clearly defined personality, and he's just fun to watch. Every time he attacks, every time he argues with himself, it's just enjoyable. Like there's nothing bland about the Green Goblin in this. Everything is so earnest and so sincere that the fact that some parts of it are maybe a bit corny or maybe look a little bit cheap or something like that, it kind of just disappears in the earnestness, I think.
I think what this movie does is that it really does a good job of immersing you into the world so that you don't really question like certain things. Like, you know, at no point do you really question, you know, the Green Goblin being in a suit or whatever, because of, like, again, like you mentioned, the strong performance that Willem Dafoe put into it. And then likewise, like all of sort of the kind of like movements that Spider-Man is doing, you know, the web slinging, even like something like the janky CGI in any of it. It's because it's like everything is like, you know, well acted, well performed. They've like done a really good job of like, you know, getting you emotionally invested into sort of the character story, and sort of kind of like what's unfolding on the screen is that you can like quite easily like forget about it or like look past it. So like at no point when I was like looking at Green Goblin's suit did I think, oh, maybe this could have been done better or this like whatever. I was like, oh, like this is just the Green Goblin of this particular like universe, and sort of this is the suit that he sort of was trying to like sell to the military or whatever, and he's like now kind of like using it to kind of like run amok across like the whole city. That's what the movie does really well. It's just like that immersion that's making you feel like you're part of it. Even when you was like talking about like the web slinging and stuff like that in it, you kind of like feel you're like with him when you're doing it, or you kind of like feel like you're part of it.